Welcome back to the channel. My name's Tom, and today I'm taking a look at LL Bean's flagship store in the nearby outlet center in Freeport, Maine. If you live in the US, I would guess that you've probably heard of LL Bean before. They sell pretty much everything nowadays, but I think they're most famous for their boots, outdoor gear, and clothing. They were founded in 1912 by a guy named Leon Wood Bean, or LL Bean. And according to my research, this store here opened in 1917. But I'm not sure if this is the original building because it looks much newer than that to me. But maybe they just did a lot of upgrades over the years. I'm not entirely sure. But this flagship store consists of 3 separate buildings. The one we're going into first is called the Hunting and Fishing Store, which is where they sell the clothing, shoes, boots, hunting gear, and fishing gear. Then there's the Home Store, which sells home goods. Then there's the Bike, Boat, and Ski Store, which sells, you guessed it, bikes, boats, and skis. And then finally, there's an outlet center across the street which sells mostly clothing and shoes at a discount. So now come along with me and let's take a look around. This is actually my first time in an LL Bean store. However, I am familiar with LL Bean because back in the 80s and 90s, we used to get the LL Bean catalog in the mail at least a few times a year. I very clearly remember buying some of the famous Bean boots back in the 80s and at least a few coats, I think. Now, I could be wrong, but I don't think there were any LL Bean stores outside of Maine, or at least not in my home state of Connecticut until fairly recently. They actually opened an LL Bean store not far from Enfield Square Mall in Connecticut just a few weeks ago. So if anybody wants me to do a walkthrough of that store, please let me know in the comments. If there's ever a zombie apocalypse, this would probably be one of the best stores to go to because they have no shortage of crossbows and bows and arrows, and as you saw earlier, plenty of rifles and shotguns, things like that. So yeah, if you live by here during the zombie apocalypse, you're probably going to be all set. Now, personally, I'm not a hunter. I'm just not into that. But they do also have plenty of clothing here that isn't necessarily hunting clothing. A lot of it is like geared towards that, but you know, I could wear most of this stuff to work and I don't think anybody would think anything of it, other than the camouflage stuff, of course. And don't forget, if you like this video, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, leave a comment, and hit that notification bell. I've got a lot more store walkthroughs coming up, as well as mall walkthroughs and flea markets. Thanks. Now, LL Bean is not the most expensive store I've ever been to, but it's also not the most affordable. It's no Walmart or even JCPenney. Some of the prices here are pretty high, like these dog beds, or at least this one here, is $169. That's really expensive. If you went to Walmart, you could get one which, you know, obviously wouldn't be as high a quality, but it would cost way less than that. And personally, I would never pay that for a dog bed because every dog bed I've bought, my dog has proceeded to eat a hole in it and take out all the stuffing within 2-3 days at the most. Something that I really like about the LL Bean store is that even though this was filmed in the middle of summer and it was like 90 degrees outside, they still had their full selection of jackets for sale. You know, you got fall jackets here, and there's even some winter jackets mixed in. Most other stores would not do that. You know, they would have cleared these out until at least the fall. And also, just to get you an idea on price, this jacket here is $119. And of course, the jackets vary in price. So they are, you know, on the higher end, but I would say $119 is reasonable for a jacket like that, especially considering the quality, which is generally higher, I think, than most other stores. This pair of pants is $89, which is more than I would generally pay for a pair of pants. But I'm cheap, so I usually would pay like, I don't know, $30, $40, $50 per pair of pants max. Here's the type of shirt I would probably buy for work. And the prices on these are not terrible, but they are on the higher side for me. These are $59.95 each. And I think in general, I'm usually paying maybe $30, $40 for a shirt like that at, say, JCPenney. But again, remember, I'm cheap. And I'm sure there's plenty of you out there that would say, oh, that's really very affordable. But to me, spending $60 per shirt is a lot. And this shirt's a little bit cheaper at $50. These short pants are also $50. They're asking $39.95 for the polos. These insulated bottles are $34.95. And then these t-shirts are $24.95. This jacket is $1.99. Let's see what they have for jeans. So these are $59.95 a pair, which I think is roughly equivalent to what Levi's generally go for, which I think is like $50 to $75 a pair on average. And I used to buy Levi's all the time. That's all I would wear. But recently, over the last couple of years, I've been buying Wranglers at Walmart, which I know are not as cool as Levi's, but they're only $20 a pair. And the quality seems roughly the same to me. I can't really tell the difference. And, you know, I'm not known for high fashion, so I don't think anybody really cares that I'm wearing Wranglers instead of Levi's. These are on sale for $69.99. So it's almost time for sweaters for me. I usually switch over to sweaters in the fall and winter, and these are the type I would probably buy. They're $69.95, which, again, slightly higher than I'd normally pay, but they look to be pretty nice quality. So I'll probably be doing my winter clothing shopping at the LL Beans over in Enfield. They're asking $54.95 for the khakis. These shirts are $59.95. It seems to be a popular price around here, $59.95 and $69.95. This pullover is $79.
Well, what I need is for the size.
And now let's head over to the camping section. Backpack is $64.95. These are some of the more serious backpacks. These are like for actual camping rather than just, going to school. These are $119.95. And then they pretty much just go up from there. I didn't know they still sold these Aerobis. I think that's how you pronounce it. I remember these were big back in the late 80s, early 90s. But I haven't really seen them since then. They call this the final charge. As you can see, they pretty much have everything you would ever need if you're going camping, which I would never go camping, so I'd probably never buy most of this stuff, but if that's your thing, this is definitely the place to come. This tent is on sale for $149. I have no idea if that's a good price or not because honestly I've never been in the market to buy a tent. All right, so now let's head on upstairs. This is where they have most of their shoes and boots.
Kings and girls and like stuff like that, yeah.
Yes.
Let's see what they're asking for these hiking shoes. I usually wear Merrells that look a lot like this, and I know the Merrells go for like $130 in the store, but you can get them for like $80 on Amazon. And these are ranging between about $110 and $130. So I'd say probably roughly comparable to what Merrells go for in the store. Good, how are you?
How do you feel?
I feel awesome.
Great.
Here's what I would say LL Bean is probably most famous for, their bean boots. And they all seem to sell for about like $150 on the low end up to almost $300 for some of them. Most of these here are about like $160, except that one there in the middle is $290 for some reason. But yeah, they're not cheap, but they are good boots. I have had them, and I really don't have anything bad to say about them. Now we're getting into like the fishing and boating section. So this kayak here is $649, and once again I have no idea if that's a good price or not. And of course I've got to take a ride in the elevator. Alright, so now let's head on out of the hunting and fishing store and head on over to the home store. But before we do that, we've got to take a look at the giant bean boot.
Wanted everybody going in and out of that one.
Okay. All right, while you walk over, I'm just going to check the notes for the weight.
Okay.
And here's the LL Bean home store.
It all depends. It all depends. So, for everyone. Yeah, I just put that
They're asking $329 for that Adirondack chair.
Like, I wish we could have stuff like this.
I mean, we can do.
I would ruin it again.
This pillow is $54.95. I think the most I've ever paid for a pillow was like $10 at Walmart. So this might not be the store for me. And then I saw these glasses and I was hoping they had something with the LL Bean logo on it or something like that, because I do collect character glasses, as most of you know, and I would say an LL Bean branded glass would be, you know, character glass adjacent, and it would be something I could add to my collection, but sadly they did not seem to have any LL Bean glasses.
Ooh, checkers. I'll put 'em on.
So then I just moved on the back after we did the whole thing. So I just scanned it and then I said we'll just tell them out back.
They're asking $179 for this dog bed. And if you're a dog person watching this right now, let me know in the comments. Would you pay $179 for a dog bed? $179 for that quilt. They're asking $339 for these down comforters.
like it.
Silicone, yeah. And they don't have those.
Okay. What are the different
Oh, the
storefronts?
boat, the boat and ski, and they no longer do downhill ski, that's on, it's cross-country ski.
Up next is the bike, boat, and ski store. Good, how are you? Hey. Here's some electric bikes, and they're asking $3,999. This Rocky Mountain bike here is $6,089, which is slightly more expensive than the Huffy mountain bike I bought 2 years ago on Amazon for, I think, $400. They were asking $49.95 for the life jacket. This canoe is $5,250. Yeah, I can definitely not afford to shop here. $5.99 for this inflatable kayak. I know absolutely nothing about surfboards and paddleboards, but let me know, is this a paddleboard or is that a surfboard? Whatever it is, it costs $1,299. This one's a little bit cheaper at $7.99. This kayak's $14.99. Now let's head right across the street to the outlet center where things are a little bit more affordable. Just a little bit.
I'm pretty sure a large is what you need.
Once again, I think this is a paddleboard. It's 20% off the ticketed price of $10.99. Does anybody know if that's a good price or not? These shoes are all 30% off. These are marked at $169, so I guess that would be like $118 after the discount. Now this is what I was most interested in. These are bean boots. They're 30% off the ticketed price. But the reason for the discount on most of these is that they're returns. So somebody has worn these before, and that always kind of creeps me out a little bit.
Take all of our stuff with us, right here. You sit here. You sit here. Right here.
And even though they're returns, they're not cheap. These were originally $2.99. So after a 30% discount, that would be like about $2.09. I was looking for the 10-inch bean boot that looks like this, except it's insulated. I already have a pair of these that are not insulated, but I'm looking for an insulated pair, and they did not seem to have any like that here. Also, the 10-inch ones are kind of hard to find, apparently. It seemed like pretty much everything was 30% off. And there you have it. That was the LL Bean Flagship Store and Outlet Center in Freeport, Maine. I hope you liked the video. If you did, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, leave a comment, and hit that notification bell. I've got a lot more store walkthroughs, mall videos, and of course flea markets coming up. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.